Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Leo's Harmony, and today we're doing a general reading, but I wanted to take a look at this Kuan deck. So we're going to get started with this deck here, so you can pick your pile, and then I'm going to read from the guidebook, and then I'm going to move on from there for your overall message. So let's get started. Go ahead and pick your pile, and then we'll get started with your reading. Hi, Pile 1, welcome to your reading. So you got the card number 12 and it says Gates of Heaven. So in the guidebook, it mentions all beings have an ultimate spiritual destiny of happiness and freedom. Beloved Kuan Yin shines tireless compassion upon all life to this end. Yet sometimes attachments, lower vibrational beings, entities, and elementals become frightened of divine love and believe they will do better to hide in human energy fields instead. This blocks progress towards liberation where human beings and lower vibrational beings can pass through the gates of heaven in peace, bliss, and homecoming to the spiritual source of all life. So right off the bat, it's basically saying that you have an attachment. You have some type of attachment that's feeding, well, maybe not even feeding off of you, but they're influencing you in some way, and they're also lowering your vibration, and they're kind of hiding. They're using you as like a shield in a way to kind of hide. So this really basically means that there is a need for you to kind of like let this entity go. So the guidebook does mention doing this from a place of love, not a place of hatred. So an entity and an attachment um, can be, like a being that's like afraid rather than something evil. Of course, it can also be like an evil thing, but the way that the guidebook is presenting this to you is more of act from a place of love and tell them it's okay to let things go, to let you go, and to kind of like call upon your guides and your, protectors to kind of help you get rid of this entity and attachment to you. So that's really interesting to start off in a reading. I'm going to pull more oracle cards and then we can get more information. Okay, so you got the card first quarter moon in Cancer, and it says push through any insecurity. So for some of you, maybe this means that this entity that's attached to you is a little insecure. There we go. Okay, so this entity might be a little insecure that's attached to you, and that's the reason that they are not letting go. I'm going to pull a couple from a different oracle deck before I move on to anything else. So you got the law of immortality. It says time is only the essence for your full expression. And for the last deck, I'm going to pull some astrology cards. So you got a trine. Then you got Cancer and new moon. So crazy how you kind of got the moon in Cancer 2 times. So that can be a very significant thing that we'll take a look at in a bit. Let me just move some cards around. Okay. Just want everything to fit. So the new moon in Cancer, new moon is always about a beginning. Cancer is about emotions, and you got the new moon there and a trine. So the way that those are relating is that a trine is always a good thing. Trine is always there to benefit you in some way. So we are looking at something that's really beneficial for you emotionally, like a new beginning. And with the card, it's kind of like a phase, right? So we're starting here with the quarter moon in Cancer, which is, it's almost done, completing its, rotation, I guess you can say. And it's in Cancer. So we're pushing through any insecurity. So this attachment can be insecure. But here the cards are kind of saying with the law of immortality, where time is only of the essence for your full expression. So in a way, it's kind of mentioning that time is a really important aspect to this and to kind of like help you get rid of this entity, right? So then with the trine and the Cancer new moon, we are basically looking at a time of good energy for you, of emotions. So maybe when you do get rid of this entity, their emotions and their energy won't be affecting you anymore. So in a way that their emotions are affecting you now. Let me pull some tarot cards and maybe we'll get more information about this. Okay, pile one. So you got the Chariot, you got the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the World, and the Ten of Swords. So with the Chariot, it's basically something that's going to happen very quickly for you. The moon phases are not very, a lengthy type of process. Usually a month is kind of like when the moon goes from like new moon to full moon. And then we, compared to Pluto, that takes a very long time. So it's something that's happening fairly quickly for you. Maybe it's not going to be overnight, but it is something that'll be quickly in terms of like planets. With the Nine of Swords, it's kind of like you're moving from a place of anguish to a place of healing. Um, the so the Nine of Swords is kind of like a card that talks about like how you're not there mentally, right? And then, you know, specifically in this deck, there's like a little bit of a hope. So like there's a lot of blackbirds, and in this deck in particular, the blackbirds are representing like negative emotions and thoughts and all of that. But with the white bird here, it's mentioning a little bit more about how there is kind of like hope to come, right? You also got the Ten of Swords, which means like an ending to your anguish and like your mental state that didn't serve your highest purpose. So it's kind of like looking back at these blackbirds and being like, oh, like, I like reflecting back on it and being like, oh, this wasn't really meant for me, but I can see why this happened. So that's like the ending here. This is kind of like you're close to the ending here, but not quite there yet. But with Nine of Cups, it's kind of like you're receiving everything that you want, and in this case, it'll be a attachment that you're getting rid of. So the world is still kind of emphasizing that, how you're basically getting rid of this attachment. But the Ten of Swords is finally saying, okay, we're done here. So with tarot specifically, it's basically mentioning that call upon your guides, call upon your protectors to help you get rid of this entity. And time, came up 2 times here. So maybe look more into the law of immortality. It can be a hint for you to help you get rid of this entity. But don't forget to do so with love. Don't do it with any bad intentions or bad emotions or anything. Just tell it it's going to be okay. You can move along now. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be insecure. Everything will be fine. But I need you to please like leave my energy, leave my space, because this is not helping me in any way. But basically with the 9 and 10 of Swords, you are nearing completion for this period, for this journey. With the 9 of Cups, you know, it's also pretty much like an ending, right? So I don't think this will be a difficult thing for you to do. I think at most it might take a month. For others, maybe like a week or two or something. So I don't think this will be like a very difficult thing for you to do. But your guides are mentioning that there is an attachment to get rid of, and you can do this yourself. And this attachment is affecting your emotions in some way with the 9 of Swords here. So they're affecting your thoughts and maybe making you insecure since they are insecure. Maybe they are affecting you emotionally because of that. You're more insecure, so maybe you're not at the 9 of Cups here, where this is a person that's pretty much content with life. They like what they receive. They pretty much have what they want. So getting rid of this attachment will help you mentally. Let me pull a few closing cards here. You got Discover. It says, look at the early dewdrops before they disappear in the morning sun. So there's something for you to discover in this case, and I think the entity is a part of it. Maybe it is an entity you worked with before that doesn't serve your highest purpose anymore, or maybe you just didn't know that it was an actual thing until now. But it's important for you to actually get rid of this and help it kind of move on and heal. You got surprises. It says venture down the rabbit hole. So, you know, I think the surprises are basically what happens whenever you do actually help this entity kind of like move on. It's pretty much saying, like, you'll pretty much discover, like, oh, this has really been affecting me more than I thought. And maybe there is a need for me to, like, kind of get rid of this, and I didn't know this was a thing before. But you slowly realize that. Forgiveness. It says a crushed flower still gives off a sweet scent. So it's important for you to forgive this entity. They were doing it out of fear, and they saw you as a being of light, and they looked at you for protection. They weren't doing it to kind of steal your energy or anything like that. They were just more looking for protection. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a squirrel that goes into a tree just to be protected because they're kind of afraid and they need a home. And they kind of found like a home in you, even though you're not really meant to be that type of being, right? But there's a need for you to kind of forgive this entity, to tell them it's going to be okay, and then to let go. And tell them to like move on. There's better things for you here. Places that will make you feel more comfortable. But you being here affects my energy. And that's not good for the both of us. Because then they're not protected. Because you're basically lowering your vibration for this entity. But that is it for you, Pile 1. I hope, you know, this really weird reading gave you some discovery on what's going on with you and like maybe why you're feeling a certain way. But if you would like a personalized reading, my Etsy is linked down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. But thank you for watching. Okay, Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So you got card number 6 that says the Daughter of the Phoenix. In the guidebook, it mentions that when the soul is ready to spread its wings, it goes through a deep cleansing, purification, and preparation for new levels of spiritual wisdom, power, and light. Just like the phoenix that is baptized through celestial fire to be born anew, you are going through such a phase of heavenly purification, preparation, and initiation. This is an advanced phase of soul growth, and soon after you will enjoy greater spiritual peace, divine power, and advancement on your divine life path. Kuan Yin, daughter of the phoenix, has been through fire both physically and heavenly, and has ascended into a position of great spiritual peace, power, and authority. She guides you now to claim your rebirth and ascend. So with this card, it's basically saying it's the Tower card, except it's more about a phoenix in this case. So you're basically breaking down everything old and starting fresh again. And this is going to help you a lot spiritually, mentally, and any other way that maybe I forgot to mention. So this is a good thing for you because it's not something that's like negative at all. Some people are afraid of like the Tower card, but it's not a bad thing at all. Well, I guess it really depends on which case, but in this case, it's not. And I'm going to pull some more oracle cards to maybe get more information on like what's to come or maybe what they want you to do. You got the full moon in Cancer with Let Your Fears Dissolve. So for some of you, you can be afraid of going through change. For others, it's more about this change is to kind of work on your fear itself, to let that go because it's preventing you from achieving your fullest life. Let me pull more oracle cards. You got the law of non-attachment. Let go, release, and allow miracles. So it's interesting how that came up, and we talked about the phoenix there. So there is a need for you to like kind of let go, right? Let something dissolve, let something go, release, and then this is about like letting things kind of like a rebirth, and that's talking about miracles. Let me pull from an astrology deck to get more information. You got the 11th house. Let me do one more. You got Aquarius. Okay, so the 11th house is more about community. And you also got Aquarius, which is the 11th zodiac sign. So maybe for some of you, 1111 is a number that you've been seeing a lot. And Aquarius also kind of deals with like, wanting to be different, wanting to invent something, but also community as well. So interesting how you got both of those cards there. And maybe there is a need to kind of like let go of your fears. Maybe it's preventing you from being with a community. And then this phoenix type of energy where you're kind of like doing a rebirth is allowing you to kind of talk to the people that you're meant to talk to and like have that community that you're meant to have. And maybe that's what you've been missing this entire time. So let me pull some tarot cards and get more information. Okay, pile two. So you got the Four of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Wheel, and the World. So the Four of Swords here, I don't know if you noticed, but this is kind of like a bird's nest. Four of Swords talks about healing. So in a way for you, this rebirth is healing you in a very big way, but you need to surrender to this change in order to kind of activate it. So you need to surrender to the rebirth and let go of any attachments that you have. This can be people, this can be items, this can be money, anything like that, or emotions, but in your case, fears as well. So you're kind of healing your fears because it's not allowing you to talk to the people that you're meant to talk with the 11th house and Aquarius. You're meant to have this community of people that you don't have at the moment. And, this Four of Swords is kind of like the beginning for you. It's like in the process of healing. So this like Phoenix type of energy. Two of Pentacles you also got, which talks about balance. So in this case, after the healing, it's pretty much saying like you find your balance, right? And you were basically allowing yourself to kind of go with the flow instead of trying to like rush into things, or maybe you're not thinking things through, or maybe you're letting your fears get to you instead of actually going for what you're meant to go. And then you got three very big, powerful major arcana cards. So the Lovers, the Wheel, and the World. So for some of you, maybe you will find love after this. The Lovers came up, but the Lovers also is about choice. And this kind of emphasizes that it's the right choice to make. The Wheel can be about like a cycle. So a cycle that maybe you finished, but the wheel is also something that's fated. So this is something that's destined for you, and it's something that you're meant to go through. And then with the world, it's kind of like completion. You finish it, you achieve everything that you want in life, and you have it all. So in a sense, your guides are being very clear about how this rebirth energy is meant for you. It's really meant for you to kind of, you know, break everything down that's preventing you from achieving your highest potential and allowing yourself to heal that energy so that you can be in balance, with your mind, your spirit, and your body. And then basically, you get everything here. You get love, not only for yourself, but maybe from someone else as well. You get your destiny, what you're meant to do. And then you also pretty much just get everything, Like they're pointing out to very specific stuff, but in the end, it's pretty much just everything. And there really is nothing for you to kind of want because you have everything. So for you to kind of go through like this period of rebirth is a good thing for you. And there is a need for you to like kind of let go of your fears, let go of any attachments that you have, and to kind of find that community that's meant for you. Because that's what's supposed to help you in life. To kind of grow and be this best version of yourself, right? So I think that's a very clear message from your guides. And I'm pretty excited for you actually, because there's so many good things here for you. But let me get a few closing cards and maybe that'll give us some information. You got generosity. Sow seeds of kindness. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And I think in this way, you're aligning more with your purpose, but also I think this card is dealing with the generosity that you're going to receive from your guides and how they're treating you with kindness. You got 3 different cards here. You got beauty. It says dare to be tender and strongly vulnerable. You got twilight. Surrender to the last hour when the light barely touches the flowers. And you got potential. The littlest key can open the heaviest door. So I don't know if you're noticing what I'm noticing, but if you see here, beauty is aligning with the lovers, twilight is aligning with the wheel, and potential is aligning with the world. So potential is, basically when you unlock everything, when you have that key. And if you notice, we have another key here. So, not only are your guides being very clear with the messages here, they're basically letting you know, like, hey, like, pay attention to this because it's important. So, beauty not only allows you to feel more beautiful, but there's beauty in love itself. And I think, this kind of confirms this is more about love rather than a decision. So, you guys will find love. It doesn't necessarily have to be other people, but you will find love in life. You will find love in yourself. And if there is another person that you will find love with, then that's also beautiful for you. With Twilight there, surrendering to the last hour, I said the wheel talks about a cycle. And once that last hour stops, that's when your cycle ends, and you need to surrender to that ending. And that ending ties back to the Four of Swords and the Daughter of the Phoenix card, where you're letting things go. And then, here it talks about letting things go, things that you're attached to, and your fears are something that you're going to let go. So everything's really tied to emotions here. There's emotions that you need to let go. And with the potential card, that talks about, receiving everything that you want, there's a key there that only emphasizes that key card again about non-attachment. So you're letting things go emotionally to receive what you want from life. Because you keeping this attachment is preventing you from actually achieving what you want. You're not getting the stuff that you want because you're not letting things go. And there is a need for you to change that here. And you will go through that change if you allow it to happen. This isn't something that you're forced to do, but it's something that you can do. But I think you need to be strong enough to say yes. Because this is about attachments here. If you're not letting that attachment go, this cannot start. If you're not letting your fears go, this cannot start. So this is up to you to put in the work. Your guides are not going to help you until you start this journey. Start this journey, find the balance, heal, get everything that you want, get the community that you want. And that's basically such a clear message here. I really don't think there's anything left to say about this reading. So that is it for you, Pile 2. I'm excited for you to start this, and I hope you do start this. And you should. But if you did like this reading, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want a personalized reading, my Etsy is linked down below. But thank you for watching. Okay, Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you got card number 30, and it says Spin the Silken Thread Divine. In the guidebook, it mentions, in creating precious skills, precious silks. There is a sorting process, sifting out that which is broken to find that which is precious and pure. You are commencing a new cycle, beloved, and it is time to allow for that which is more precious and pure, that which you wish to take with you into the future, to continue and to release that which does not align with your true heart. Sometimes we need help. Sometimes we need to help ourselves access the new cycle by releasing vows from this or other lifetimes, releasing old emotional patterns and calling in wisdom and talents from past lifetimes. You are guided to accept this healing now. So for you, it's pretty much saying that this is a card about healing and it's calling you to heal, but it requires you to kind of accept it and to kind of do it. Let me pull more oracle cards to get more information. You got the first quarter moon in Leo. It says be humble. You got the law of immortality. It says time is only of the essence for your full expression. This also came up for pile 1, so if you're interested in that, that'll be kind of interesting for this reading. Let me pull some from an astrology deck. Your first one here is the 8th house. And then you also got Mercury. Okay, so for people that got this reading, pile 3, 8th house deals with like fears in this case, since it is something that you have to heal. Mercury is also talking about a delay in this sense because it is about, Mercury usually deals with like writing or um, anything that's kind of like progressive. And in this case, it's talking about how you're not really progressing in a way. So Mercury also kind of deals with like psychopomp energy. So it's kind of like moving forward or like moving on to something better. So with this card that basically is telling you to heal, it's kind of mentioning that what you need to heal are your fears, your trauma, your like anything negative, that really affected you in that way mentally. And with the Mercury card, it's saying that that's a block that you have. So with the first quarter moon in Leo, it says be humble. So maybe there is a way for you to like kind of humble your attitude to allow healing. And then with the law of immortality, it's basically saying that time is what's kind of meant for you to happen, right? Like time is what's allowing you to kind of heal. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be like super fast or super slow, but you will know how fast or slow you have to go. It's not something that'll happen on its own. Like you have to use your intuition for this. Let me pull some tarot cards to get more information, but I'll be right back. Okay, pile three. So you got the Four of Swords, you got the King of Pentacles, you got the Hermit, Ace of Pentacles, and Strength. So with Four of Swords right off the bat, it is talking about you going through a healing phase. And this is pretty much aligning with this card here that talks about that. And it's pretty much something that you, again, like I said, this is a choice that you have, but it's something that you should do. So Four of Swords here is talking about that. King of Pentacles is someone who's like really secure, someone who's patient, who um like they're stable, right? And that's basically saying you healing will lead to this, and that's what you're meant to kind of do. With the Hermit here, usually this is like I see this as a good card, but I think in this case it is more talking about how you need to be alone. You need to be alone to heal. You can't be surrounded by too many people because you need to take time for yourself to actually think about your emotions, your trauma, anything negative, right? To kind of go within and heal. And that's what that card is really emphasizing here. Ace of Pentacles is a beginning, and I think it's the beginning of this, right? So this is kind of like the ending. It's saying heal to get to this, but be alone to do it. And then, this is how you kind of start it. That's what this is basically saying here. So that's how you start this healing process where you find stability. And it takes strength to do that with the strength card there. It's going to be something that is here for you to do, but it'll be a little scary, right? Because you have to accept it, you have to say yes to it. So it is looking at your trauma, it is looking at your fears, and that is scary to kind of deal with. But I don't think you're alone in doing this. Like you can go within, be alone with yourself in those emotions and learn to kind of heal from it and let it go and not let it affect you from progressing in the future. That's what you need to learn how to do. We're not saying to like get rid of it, right? We're not saying that we need to like, oh, like get over it. No, like you're actually allowing yourself to be in those emotions, to relive those memories of that trauma, and telling yourself it's okay, you're not dealing with this anymore. That's in the past. And I need to kind of heal from this because it's preventing me from moving forward. And my life should not be living constantly in this fear and this trauma. Like, I need to be happy. I need to move forward because I can't be continuing this for the rest of my life. And I think there's strength in you in figuring that out in a way that works for you. So that's what your guides want you to work on. And I think, this energy here is really healing and it's really comforting. I don't think you're alone in this at all. I think your guides are here to help you. But there is a need for you to humble yourself. Maybe there is a part of you that wants to be alone, but your guides are like, hey, we're here to help too. I think you should be alone from other people, but I don't think you should be alone from your guides, right? You're not telling them to go away. And with the time thing here, the King of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, it's like a patient thing. So I don't think it has to be overnight. It can be months, it can be years, or whatever, however long it takes you. But it's okay. As long as you're putting in the work, you're moving forward. Even if it's like one day, maybe you wake up and you tell yourself, for example, someone who's insecure, I am beautiful. And that's all you do for the day, that's fine. Like you're moving forward. You're putting some effort into something, and take time. Take it step by step. And I don't think you have to do it overnight either. Like, your guides are really emphasizing patience. Let me pull a few closing cards here that might give us more information. So what did I just tell you? It says rest. Slow down. You don't have to solve everything today. I literally just mentioned this, and your guides are basically telling you, hey, listen to that. It's present. Journey into the garden to escape the two eternities, the past and the future. So this kind of fell into the middle here too, right? So, it's funny how that's aligning as well. Journey into the garden. So be, in a space that allows you to, that's like beautiful, to be by yourself. That's not scary for you. So a garden is a really good place for that, where you can think about your trauma, you can think about your past, and maybe you're worrying about the future because of that. Like, oh, like I'm not doing what I want in life. I'm not really taking the steps that I want to. But it's because I'm so scared because of what happened in the past. And that is maybe a hint for you of like how you need to change that mindset to, what do I want to do now? And how can I, be happy with the actions that I'm taking today rather than thinking about like, oh, I need to do this by this time in the future. Or thinking about the past and like, oh, how did that affect me in the past? Oh, I don't want to do that again. But being present is allowing yourself to kind of heal in a way as well. And maybe that is a hint for you. It says dare, take a risk and fly. So that's kind of aligning with the strength and the Ace of Pentacles. It is a risk for you, and it does require strength to kind of start this healing process, but I don't think you're alone in this at all. This is such like motherly energy, right? There's just so much like warmth here. It's so comforting, and I don't think you should have any fear at all. Like, your guide's energy is so comforting. And that's such a beautiful thing for you. Let me do one more. It says play. Among the grass and wild violets lie undisturbed little secrets to uncover. So I think it's aligning with this card here, where you're meant to kind of, I think the garden is a big thing here. So be in a garden. I think do the healing, but don't forget to take time for yourself and kind of allow yourself to get away from that mentality for a bit and just have fun. So maybe for some of you, this can be like just playing, with the water hose or something like that, or having a balloon, like a water balloon fight after, which is kind of dumb. It's like so childish, but I think that's what your guides want. They want you to be able to feel that happiness that you had as a kid, or a kid should have, right? Maybe your childhood wasn't good, and that can be something that you need to heal. But they want you to feel that that joy that a child has whenever they play. So do the healing, but also take breaks. That's what they're mentioning here. Your guides are so inviting and warm and loving that I don't think you have anything to fear here. Like, yes, you know, you still need to kind of be able to have the strength to start this, but I think their energy is so good for you. But that is it for you, pile 3. I hope this reading found you well. If you did like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like a personalized reading, my Etsy is linked down below. But thank you for watching.